What's going on, guys? I got another coin shop finds video for you. I just took a trip out to Arkansas. I ended up in Rogers and I found a really cool coin shop, and these are my finds. So let's get started. Here's a 1898 Barber quarter. This has an extraordinary amount of detail to it. This one has been cleaned. It's not a super old cleaning, but it is a little bit of an older cleaning because it started to retone some. It does have a nice look to it. You could see there's a mark right under Lady Liberty's eye there. It almost looks like a teardrop going down her cheek. Just an interesting little unique mark. You know, every coin's unique, and here's one little mark on it that proves that. I think it kind of adds to it a little bit. I mean, it's already clean, so not like I'm sending it out to be graded, but it's just got an incredible amount of detail, and I don't mind the look. It's not a shiny silver, although, you know, whenever this was cleaned, however long ago that was, it probably was shiny silver at that point. That's what leads me to believe that, you know, it wasn't cleaned yesterday. It's got a little bit of a retone, but just look at that detail. Just really an incredible amount of detail. I picked this up for 35 bucks. I don't think that's too bad. This was probably my favorite coin out of the bunch. Next up, I found a 1891 Liberty seated quarter. Now, there's a couple different types of toning you'll find on coins. You can get the toning that really accentuates the details, the design features, and the devices, and they make everything pop, and you're able to see the details that much better because of the toning. You'll kind of see a little bit of that on the reverse. You see like the dark line around the eagle's neck there, around the eagle's wing, almost around the entire eagle. There's that little dark mark that's almost like an outline. Inside of the shield, you got those dark lines in between the vertical lines there on the bottom of the shield. You know, you get toning like that make the design features pop, and that could add to the coin's eye appeal. But when you get toning like we have on the obverse, where it just kind of, it's just a uniform color throughout. You almost can't even see that it does have a full Liberty. The body is just one big mass. You know, that's kind of toning that doesn't really help for the eye appeal. So I like the reverse on this better, just because you could see all the design features better. You know, the toning's just a little bit nicer on the reverse, I guess you would say. But it does have a lot of meat left to it. Full Liberty. You know, a lot of the design features are there. They're just hard to see because of the toning. And another interesting point to this coin, if you look at the space between the denticles and the edge of the coin, on the bottom of the obverse, there's a big space between the denticles and the edge of the coin. And if you look at the top of the obverse, there's not as big of a space. This almost leads me to believe that this was off-struck a little bit. You see what I'm saying? The rim is thicker on the bottom of the obverse than it is on the top. And it's not like that on the reverse. Because at first I was thinking, well, somehow the top of the obverse just got worn more, but that's not the case on the reverse. So I think this was actually off-struck a little bit. Just another interesting detail with this coin. Kind of makes this one unique. I thought that was really cool. Tell me what you think. Was that off-struck? I tend to think that it was. Here's a 1909 Barber quarter. You know, this is more or less what I'm looking for when I go to look for these quarters. And when I say it's what I'm looking for, it's what I could hope to find you know, if I do good. Because this is a lot of detail for a barber quarter. Nearly full Liberty. You know, it's got the originality to it. It's got that olive green toning. It's customary in barber coinage. You know, it doesn't look like it was scrubbed down. So it's just got a lot of detail, and it's got the originality. It wasn't hit with a wire brush. So when you're looking for a barber quarter, if you could find one like this at a reasonable price, I would say grab it, because these are very hard to find in this condition. You know, you could find a ton of them with maybe one letter in Liberty showing and, you know, hardly any of the headdress and worn right down. But to find them like this is getting harder and harder and harder. So I was very glad to pick this up. This is probably the most original out of the barber quarters that I found. So I had to grab that. You'll see this one here. This one has a lot of detail also, but you could see somebody scrubbed that area on the top of the obverse where the headdress is and the Liberty is, probably to expose the letters in Liberty better, but they pretty much ruined the coin by doing that. Not so much that I won't buy it, but I'm going to throw this in an album. So I think this is acceptable as an album filler, but there's a 1903 quarter. I found this, which I was pretty happy to find. Here's a 1863 Indian head cent. A lot of detail to it. Just a very nice Indian head cent, Civil War date. So I was very happy to grab that. Here's a 1901 barber dime. This one's been cleaned, in my opinion. Still has some original mint surfaces left to it, meaning it wasn't whizzed right down to nothing, but I think that it was cleaned. But it's got a lot of detail, full Liberty. That's going to end up in my album. Here's a 1907 barber dime. Again, a lot of detail, full Liberty. I was happy to pick this up. This will end up in the album. I think I got this for $15. I think I paid $25 for this one. There's a 1913 barber dime. This one's got some dark tone around the outside of the obverse. Full Liberty. I really like the reverse on this one. It's a good looking dime. 1913 barber dime. Happy to grab that. Here's a 1909 O. I needed this for the album. Nearly a full Liberty. It's got a little bit of a dark tone throughout. See the O mint mark, bottom of the reverse. It's just a really solid album coin, especially for an O mint barber dime. And then lastly, I was happy to find this one, 1841 O, Liberty seated half dime. According to PCGS, there's only 200 survivors in any grade, graded, ungraded, period. According to PCGS, there's only 200 survivors. I don't know how they come up with those figures, but that just tells me that there are not a lot of survivors of this coin. And I know the early New Orleans minted coins got heavily circulated, especially the half dimes. This had a mintage of 815,000. And, you know, a survivor rate in the hundreds. So I was happy to grab this. What do you guys think? Let me know what you think about the coin shop finds. And I got another video coming for you soon, because I just hit the coin shop again yesterday when I got home. So, see you later.